Welcome to Art Talk Tuesday. We are exploring the fifth piece in our chakra series. There's 7 chakras. We are on chakra 5 today. Last week we covered chakra 4. I just want to talk a little bit about that. This piece, even though it is the 5th chakra, and I've been showing you the series in order, it is actually the very first piece that I created in this series. As I've said before, my process is very intuitive, and spirit kind of guides me into what images I'm creating and if they're even going to be a series. I usually don't even know that the images I'm creating are going to be a series until I've done about 2 or 3 of them, sometimes 4, and then I realize, okay, this is going to keep going for a while, and spirit kind of speaks to me. So this was actually the first piece that was created, and the piece that you saw last week, chakra 4, was actually the very last piece that I created in this series. So just want to kind of point that out before we get started. Once again, this piece is entitled The Flowering of Truth. It is about the 5th chakra. The 5th chakra is associated with the throat, the neck, the shoulders, the thyroid. It is also associated with speech, sound, and vibration. So that is what the 5th chakra is all about, associated with those types of things. And the moon, of all things, which is something I found was very odd. And we'll talk about that a little bit more as I go through the piece. So once again, all the pieces of the series are 18 inches wide by 24 inches high. This particular piece, like I said, is a depiction, a visual understanding of the 5th chakra. You see the color here. This color is the main color associated with the 5th chakra, and this is a cerulean blue. And this symbol here is the symbol for the chakra. This extra detail here is a symbol of my own that I added, representative kind of an eye, so the whole idea of eye and omniscience and the divine presence being present in the expression of the 5th chakra, because it is about speaking forth truth, about expression, which is also associated with the neck, throat, shoulders, and about sound. When we talk about sound, sounds pouring forth vibration, pouring forth, right, authenticity, speaking your truth, being about truth. That is what this chakra is mostly about. So that's why I had this whole idea of the eye and the divine being associated with it. But this is the actual symbol for the chakra. Cerulean blue is the color. Also associated with this 5th chakra is turquoise to a lesser degree, but the main color is actually the cerulean blue. You can see once again the figure is seated here, and I played a little bit more on this image than I have on the others in this series with the more graphic content versus the areas that are more rendered. You can see here in her folds of her shirt and then this outfit that everything is very graphic. You just got the lighter blue here and the darker blue, and the folds are all rendered. Very graphic type of deal. But when you look here at the skin and the physical features, it's more highly rendered, much more realistic. And so we're playing with this notion of contrast, which is part of what the 5th chakra is about, the contrast between authenticity and inauthenticity. Because in many ways, when we live our life is about contrast. We come to this dimension, this physical experience, to experience contrast, not necessarily in terms of versus, this versus that, but more in contrast of the difference between one thing and the difference between another. Our first understandings of ourselves as human beings, as babies, as we begin to understand the contrast between us and not us. And usually that occurs in the context of being with the mother and being able to distinguish her skin from our own skin, her sound of her voice from our own cry. And so this beginning to understand the contrast between what is us and what is not us. As we grow older, we do the same thing as we begin to experience other people. We have friends, people we dislike, etc., 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 conflicts. These are all ways of us experiencing contrast between what is us and what we like and what we don't like, who we are versus who someone else is. And so this contrast process continues throughout life, and through that process we come to an authentic and a true understanding of who we are as individuals, who we are as spiritual beings, if we go about it in a conscious way. So really, when we're talking about living a conscious life is really the experience of contrast, and doing that in a way that is authentic and expressing that openly about who we are, being conscious of who we are in all situations, no matter what they are. And that means speaking that truth and coming from that authentic place, whether it be worried about whether people are going to like you or not like you, whether it be worried about being accepted by others, whether it means being worried about expressing who you are for fear people may ridicule you or laugh at you, or just expressing your own truth, whatever that may be. And the truth may change. Genetically, your DNA may be still maybe the same as you were when you were a baby, but you are not that same person. Also, you may be one person at 3, and the core essence of who you are may be that same person, but the way that that is expressed throughout your lifetime grows and changes continually. So we live in this paradox of between truth, authenticity, and how do we maintain that in the contrast we experience in life and with others. Even the contrast of our body being young and youthful, and as mine now is becoming older and not quite as equipped as it used to be. Once again, we experience this contrast. So how do we navigate that in an authentic way, in a conscious way that allows our spirit, our true essence to pour forth? How do we embody who we really are and have the courage not only to look within, but then when we look within, have the courage to face whatever we find there, and then to live it out and express it authentically in the world, regardless of whatever circumstances may occur. I firmly believe that everyone has the right to be who and what they truly are, as long as they are not harming other people or denying other people their authenticity in the process. Other than that, you do you, best way you can, as all of us should be doing. But so often that doesn't happen. So having said that, that's what the 5th chakra is all about, this expression of truth and authenticity and how we express that out, live that out. Also, when we speak our truth, we write our truth, it's still coming out. We're emitting all the time. As human beings, we're emitting vibrations, we're emitting vibes, we're emitting pheromones, exosomes, all these things. So we're constantly emitting. The question is, are we emitting authentically? Are we emitting truthfully? And so that's what we're looking at here. So this contrast between the more graphic images here and the more rendered areas here, and the skin, the face, the hair. I wanted the big hair here for some reason. I felt like that was important to have the hair this big. And you can see some of the shades of blue working in here in the hair as I began to render this here. Also the figure, you see the figures, she is turned up. She's in a meditation pose, obviously sitting in a meditation pose, and her neck is uplifted, her head is uplifted, exposing her neck. Why am I doing that? Because I wanted to once again emphasize the 5th chakra being related to the throat, the shoulders, and here what we call this the décolletage is being exposed here. So, and we see that also the symbol for that chakra is pointing down. It leads the eye down into this area of the throat. So I wanted to accent that. You're getting a double entendre here, meaning as to the symbolism of the 5th chakra by this pointing here and the throat being exposed. This figure would be actually sitting in a meditation pose, head tilted up. She would actually be humming in a chant or a mantra. Usually the sound associated with the 5th chakra is the sound ham. So she might have been, we would say that she had her throat uplifted, exposing that sound, chanting the mantra of ham. So that's what we're doing here. Also, we see this points down. Everything brings you down. These lines here, as you see, they all bring you down the composition. So even though this may be rather amorphous here, we see the spiritual energies floating in and out here in the white. The white that I've outlined here around the lotus is symbolic of the connection to the moon, as the moon being white light when we look at it. And so this 5th chakra associated with the moon is the reason for the white here. But everything brings you down. These all bring you down here and then in and down. So I'm grounding the figure into the composition, grounding it into the lotus as well as everything moves down, and then the single line, and you see that in each composition, bring you back down out of the canvas. So everything you hit here, and then you are taken down, all the way down out of the canvas. So that's what I'm doing here with this piece. And so this piece is valued at $1,500. I believe the prints for this start at, I think you get a 4x6 starting for about $25. And they move up from there depending on what kind of bells and whistles you want. Please, if you're getting anything from these videos, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Damon Powell Artist. Put that in, it'll come up. Like me on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. They're all posted on there. So thank you for tuning in this week, and I will talk to you next week. Namaste.